Welcome in to Fantasy Baseball Trade Talk right here on Fantasy Pros. I am Chris Welsh. We're closing in on the All-Star break, but that doesn't mean the trade talk stops, so I have got some trade talk for you today. Before we get jamming though, hit that like button so you're notified when we're dropping any and all of our videos. Also check out fantasypros.com/premium to get all the hottest fantasy tools from Fantasy Pros. Now let's get into some of the trades. I haven't really been giving you guys a whole bunch of trade-aways, but I do have a couple in this video. We're going to start off with a few trade-aways, then some trade-fors right before the All-Star break, so let's do it. First up on the trade-aways, it's always so dicey to talk to you guys about trade-aways, but I do have one I feel pretty confident about. Seattle Mariners starting pitcher Logan Gilbert. I personally like Gilbert, and I'm kind of open to the idea that he could turn things around. This is a really smart, hardworking pitcher, but things have just been going in the wrong direction. On the year, Gilbert's got a 4.19 ERA and a 25% K percentage. But so far through the season, Gilbert hasn't had a single month under a 3.96 ERA. In fact, 2 of those other months are over 4. Over the first 3 months, we've seen his walk rate increase. We've seen his K percentage dip, with June being right around 16% on the K percentage. Over the last 30 days, Gilbert has an awful 10.6 K minus walk percentage and a Sierra worse than his ERA at 4.88. Gilbert's fastball has fallen really far behind this year and is contributing to bad results as his whiff rate on the fastball has fallen by 6% year over year and is giving up a 300 batting average against. Gilbert isn't exactly like a trade magnet here, but what I'm doing is looking to get out of the Logan Gilbert business for the rest of the season, so I'm putting them up for trades, and I'm buying on names that maybe people haven't quite caught up to. Now, for the hitter that I'm looking to get out from, Texas Rangers third baseman Josh Young. The all-star third baseman got me a little bit worried. Those season stats, they still look pretty solid. 274 batting average, 17 homers, 56 runs, 50 RBI. It's pretty dang good. That's 4 or 5 categories that he's contributing very well in. Plus, he has had a pretty even distribution of homers per month. The trends, though, shows batting average dipping 3 straight months, with June hitting only 233 and a K percentage that is rising each month. Over the last 2 weeks, he's also sported an inflated 429 BABIP while only hitting 229. That's wild. That's not what we usually see with BABIPs. And over those last 2 weeks, an eye-opening 48% K percentage. His numbers are enough that he still looks really good in trades. Plus, throw in that he's an all-star, which is going to prop up so many players in general. Young, with his strikeout problems and bad trends, are someone I'm looking to go maximize on right now. It's still a great offense. There will still be running RBI opportunities. My worry is that the worst is yet to come, and that's why I'm looking to get out of the Josh Young business. Now, let's talk about a few guys I am trading for. Texas Rangers, Ezekiel Duran. So stop me if you've heard this one, and I know you've heard me mention this name before. I actually may have done it on these videos before, but Ezekiel Duran has been on a tear, and over the last few weeks, it's been more of the same. How much? Over the last 2 weeks, Duran has a 21% barrel rate, 4 homers, and tied for the 10th most hits in baseball in that span. On the year, Ezekiel Duran hasn't hit under 300 any month of the season, and since June 18th, Duran has had 9 multi-hit games. You go and look over on CBS roster ownership, he's still only 79% owned, which is usually the higher end of any of the platforms you play on. So what that is telling us, he's still available out there. Similar to last week in the, quote, get this guy thrown in your trade, Duran qualifies as that. You could put together a smaller move of maybe like need, you're getting rid of like a lower end pitcher, a relief pitcher to acquire Duran, or you could put this as part of a bigger trade where the owner then throws in Duran for practically nothing, just as a filler piece to the trade. His strikeout rate has been creeping up just a little bit, but his ability to make contact, hit for power, and speed in one of the better lineups in baseball makes Ezekiel Duran a big trade target, even for the second half. Next up for the players I'm trading for, Toronto Blue Jays outfielder George Springer. Prior split trends aren't like fully 1-for-1. So, example, just because a guy was a better second half player for last year, let's say, doesn't mean it will be next year. It's not 100% translation. But with George Springer, though, over the last 3 years, we've seen significantly better results on the second half. 2020, over 100 points better on his batting average in the second half. 2021, over 90 points better on his batting average. And last year, 2022, 40 points better on his batting average in the second half. So what can we take from that? Second half player definitely in play for George Springer. Why is that so great? Well, Springer this year is currently hitting .270 with 12 homers and 12 stolen bases. He's got an XBA right around his batting average, with a barrel percentage, expected slug, and expected WOBA all better than last year. Over the last 2 weeks, he's been particularly solid, hitting .341 with 30 points higher ISO than his actual season total. And finally, the BatX projections for George Springer have him hitting more RBI and more runs since 2019, and a career high 19 stolen bases based on those projections. You're looking for 5 tools at less than a top 50 player cost. I am going to look at George Springer, and hopefully, at least the trends have told us, with a bigger second half coming. And finally on the trades, we are looking at San Diego Padres pitcher Yu Darvish. Darvish has been known to run a little bit hot and cold. This year, it's been cold. May and June particularly, Darvish has posted a 5+ ERA. May saw strikeouts dip under 9/9, which is very unusual for him, but it popped back up in July. Last year, Darvish had 2 months of an over 4 ERA, but the rest were 3 and under. We also kind of saw a similar thing in 2021, where the first 3 months he had a 3 or under ERA, with the final 3 months being 6 or greater. So we can tell Darvish is going to have a couple garbage months and a couple great months. Darvish has seen a little bit of a decrease in his velo from the fastball and the slider, a little bit worrisome, but he's also sporting an expected ERA a run lower than his current ERA. Darvish throws so many pitches, and I personally believe that can play a role in affecting his rhythm and timing and getting back on sync. Sometimes these guys just need to master that pitch where he just moves on and can move on to another if things aren't working. But for those same reasons, that's why he is so nasty and effective. So the team as a whole has been a little bit of a black hole, but Darvish is a nice bet to buy much cheaper at the All-Star break coming up. We know he runs hot and cold. It's been mainly cold, so the hot presumably is coming, and Darvish is a guy to bet on. We've got your back on waivers, trades, and daily shows here on Fantasy Pros, and we're just about halfway home. So I hope you've enjoyed the videos we've been doing, and I hope you've scored some big wins. If you have, let us know in the comments what's been your best trade you've pulled off that we've talked about. If you do and you're subscribed, you could win a premium subscription to Fantasy Pros for the year. Pretty sweet, for free. Follow me on Twitter at @IsItTheWelsh, and tune in Monday through Friday to Leading Off at 12:30 p.m. Eastern every single day, except like on a holiday. Talk to you next time, friends, right here on Fantasy Pros MLB.